The wind cut through the trade port like a knife. Cold, dry, merciless. It howled between piles of broken ship parts, twisted metal, and half-dead lights. The city never slept, but tonight it seemed to shiver. Kai adjusted the collar of his old coat and stepped out from the back of his workshop. He just finished welding a cracked plasma pipe and wanted nothing more than sleep. But something in the air made him stop. A sound. Not loud, not sharp dash, just ... wrong. He moved toward the scrap alley behind his shop. The shadows were thick. The light from his torch flickered across rusted panels and rain-slick stone. And then he saw her. A figure curled up beside a broken crate. Thin, bare, skin nearly blue. An alien woman. She was trembling, her fingers clutched around her knees, eyes wide with shock. Her body was wrapped in almost nothing, just a shredded cloth and a cracked metal collar half buried under her hair. Her lips were dry. Her voice came out weak but clear. "Blanket," she whispered. "Please, just one night I'll give you my body." Kai didn't answer. She tried to sit up, but her limbs failed. She collapsed again, breath shallow, her chest barely moving. He looked around. No one else, no patrols, no cameras, just her. And death, waiting in the cold. He took off his coat and wrapped it around her, without a word. She flinched, expecting pain, but there was none. Only warmth. Only cloth. He lifted her gently, and for a second she panicked, her arms fighting to push. "Away!" "I didn't mean that," she gasped. "Not if you force it. I'm not that kind of man," Kai said. She froze. He carried her back into his shop, stepping through the rusted metal door, letting it slam shut behind him. Inside, heat wrapped around them. A single coil heater glowed red in the corner. Tools and machine parts were scattered everywhere, but the place was clean lived in. Real Kai laid her on the old repair bench, the only flat space not covered in scrap. He moved quickly blanket, thermal wrap, cup of warm synth broth. The woman stared at the ceiling, eyes unfocused. Don't drug me," she murmured. "It's just broth," he said. "You need it." She blinked, but didn't move. He lifted the cup, placed it gently at her lips. She drank, slowly, hand twitching with each sip. After a few minutes, the color in her skin started to return. Not fully, but enough to make her stop shaking. She looked at him, then really looked. "You didn't touch me," she said. "No. You didn't ask my name." "No. You're alone here." "Yes." She lowered her eyes. "Then you must be broken." Kai gave a tired smile. "Maybe I am." She sat up slowly, arms still trembling. "Why would you help me?" "I fix broken things," he said. "You looked broken. I was offering myself," she whispered. "Most men would have. I'm not most men." She looked down at the blanket around her, fingers pressed into it like it was made of gold. "You can stay tonight," he said. "No payment." She nodded. "What's your name?" asked Riva. He paused. The name didn't sound local. "You're not from this sector," he said. "No." "Where are you from?" She hesitated. "I don't know anymore." He didn't push. "I was sold," she said after a long pause. "To a trader, then to another, then lost in a raid. I ran, hid, fell." Kai listened. "I've been cold for days," she said. "I thought if I gave myself, someone might give me a blanket. You don't need to offer anything." She looked at him carefully. "Then you're either lying," she said, "or dying inside." He didn't answer that. Riva leaned back against the bench. Her breathing had slowed now. Her hands no longer shook. The warmth was returning. She whispered, "Do you want me to stay beyond tonight?" Kai didn't reply right away. "I don't need anything from you," he said. "But if you want to stay, you can." She closed her eyes. "I won't be safe to keep," she said. "They'll come looking. They always do. I've survived worse." She didn't believe him, but she stayed. Kai stood and turned off the main light, letting the heater cast a soft glow across the walls as he stepped into the back room to sleep. His scanner on the wall blinked once. Unknown biometric signature detected. Matching, searching, match found. Warning, priority asset, Do not engage. Dangerous. High value. He stared at the words, then looked back through the cracked door where she now slept, the alien girl who had begged for warmth. With her body was not who she claimed to be. The next morning, Kai found her standing barefoot by the engine rack. She had taken his old jacket, wrapped it tight around her body, and was holding one of his welding tools like a weapon. Her back was to the wall, her posture stiff, ready to strike. Kai raised his hands. You're safe here. She didn't relax. Her fingers curled tighter around the tool. Who are you? She asked. I'm Kai, same as last night. You didn't touch me? No. She stared at him for a long moment, then slowly lowered the tool. Kai walked past her and placed a hot metal mug on the workbench. Steam rose from the top. It smelled faintly like tea, but stronger, made from root bark and filtered oil. Standard scavenger brew. Drink, he said. She didn't move. I scanned the place before I slept, she said quietly. There's no food stash, no running. Credits, no locked doors, just scrap, dust, and silence. I told you, Kai said. I fix broken things. That's all I have left. Why help someone like me? He asked for a blanket. Riva took a step forward, but her legs still shook. She grabbed the bench for balance, took the mug, and drank. It burned going down, but she didn't stop. When she finished, her eyes looked clearer. I'm sorry, she said. For what? For offering myself, she replied. I thought that was the only trade anyone would take. Kai didn't respond. Then her voice dropped. They're going. To find me. Kai didn't look surprised. I know, he said. She blinked. You saw the scanner? He nodded. I disabled the alert before it could broadcast. Riva stared at him like he'd just told her the sky fell. Why? You were cold, he said. Didn't matter who you were. You needed help. She sat down slowly, rubbing her hands together. Her body still carried the marks of sleep deprivation, veins slightly raised, skin bruised under the collarbone, old burn marks near the wrist. But now she was breathing evenly. What did it say? She asked. Priority. Asset, Kai replied. Dangerous. High value. Orders to avoid contact. Riva laughed, once dry and bitter. They always say that, like I'm some kind of weapon. Are you? She looked up. No, she whispered. But I was made to be. Kai leaned against the wall. I'm listening. Floor, I was born in a breeder facility, she began. My mother died giving birth to me. They told me I was lucky, hybrid, compatible, pretty. My blood was mixed, altered, tested. Her voice became softer. They taught me to smile, too. Obey. To look helpless. The first time they tried to pair me, I bit a handler's hand until he bled out. Kai didn't flinch, so they drugged me, she said. Every day. Until I smiled right. I touched the faded scar on her neck. I escaped during a transport. Took a guard's pass key and crawled into a trash drone. She laughed again. They didn't expect me to fit inside. Kai looked at her with something different now, not a pity. Something sharper. Respect. Double quotes. I landed 4 systems away in a pile of food waste. Wandered planet to planet. Ate dirt, slept under ducks. No one gave me anything until you. She met his eyes. So I need to know, she said. What's your price? There isn't one, he said. No man helps for free. Kai didn't blink. No good man ignores a dying woman. Her lips trembled. She looked away. I don't believe in good men, she whispered. Then maybe I'm the first. She stood slowly, her knees still weak. You'll regret this. Not yet, he said. Suddenly the old security panel behind him beeped. Incoming. Pulse detected drone sweep in progress sector. For Riva's face went white. They've found my trail. Kai rushed to the console, tapped a sequence. He flipped a hidden switch under the counter. The walls trembled slightly as a concealed platform under the floor hummed to life. What is that? She asked. Tunnel system, he said.
Old.
Rebel escape lines. This place sits above miles of hidden paths. You're not just a scrap worker, are you? Not anymore, he replied. The lights dimmed. Outside, the sound of engines whispered through the dust. A drone passed overhead slow, scanning. Riva stepped toward the platform, hesitating. You're coming too, right? Kai looked at her. Then grabbed a metal crate filled with tools, dropped it into the lift, and said, I didn't build this place to run away alone. As they descended into the darkness below, the drone passed overhead once more, but it was already too late. The woman they hunted was gone, and now she wasn't alone. The lift stopped with a dull thud. Darkness waited below, thick and silent, until Kai hit the manual light switch. Old bulbs flickered on dusty, golden rings of light revealing a massive underground vault carved from ancient metal. The walls were stitched with cables and forgotten tech. It didn't look like a hiding place. It looked like a memory. Riva stepped off the lift, one hand brushing the wall as she walked. This isn't scrap, she whispered. This is pre-collapse. Design, military grade. Kai nodded. I found it years ago. Rewired it, built over it. Never thought I'd use it again. She looked at him with a new kind of suspicion. What were you before this? Before the workshop? The tea? The coat? Kai didn't answer right away. Walked to the central control table, wiped off the dust, and powered it up. A quiet hum filled the room. Screens blinked to life. Surveillance feeds, exit maps, emergency rations, everything still working. I was someone who used to run too, he said finally. Riva tilted her head. From what? Kai's fingers paused over the keypad. From the people I couldn't save. She didn't press further. Instead, she wandered toward a wall lined with sealed crates. A small scanner beside them blinked as she passed. Then, suddenly, it beeped in. The lock on one crate clicked open. Kai turned fast. You didn't touch anything, he said. Riva stepped back. I didn't do anything. It just reacted. They both stared at the crate. The light above it turned green, and a soft voice echoed from the wall speaker. Biological signature accepted. Host candidate confirmed. Riva froze. What did it say? She asked, her voice low. Kai moved forward, opened the crate slowly. Inside lay a dark, metal disc, smooth, polished, glowing faint blue veins. Not a weapon, not exactly. It looked alive. I don't know what this is, Kai said. I always thought it was some sealed beacon. I never had the access code to open it. It opened for me, she whispered. Kai handed her a scanning device. Check your biometrics. She hesitated, then placed her hand on the pad. The screen filled with lines of data. Then a title blinked in large letters. Host candidate 01. Royal Geneset female status, dormant. Activation threshold to 87% threat level. Sovereign. She dropped the scanner. Her hands shook not from cold this time, but something deeper. This is wrong, she whispered. I wasn't bred for that. I wasn't royal. I wasn't chosen. I was bought like cargo. Kai picked up the scanner again. This says otherwise. No, she said, backing away. They must have put something in me. Changed my blood. I was just a breeding model. Kai moved in front of her. No, he said. They weren't making you less, or making you more. I don't want this, she whispered. You don't have to, he replied. But it already knows who you are. Riva sat down on a crate, staring at her hands. They always said I was different, she muttered. I learned too fast. I resisted training. They thought it was a flaw. Kai crouched beside her. Maybe it was defiance, he said. Maybe that's what made you real. She looked up at him. Why are you still here? 'Cause you were dying in the cold, he said. And now? You're waking something bigger than either of us. Suddenly, screen on the wall blinked red. Outside, movement detected Southridge. 2 signatures. Kai rushed to the console. Pulled up the feed. 2 figures, one tall, one limping, moved between wreckage above the scrapyard. Slow, quiet, careful, scanning equipment in their hands. No insignia. Bounty scouts, Riva said instantly. They're mapping signal leaks. Kai moved fast, activating the outer defenses. The roof panels above would shield thermal readings. The old jamming field went live. Lights dimmed again. They won't find this place, he said. But what? If they already pinged my trail? He looked at her. Then we don't stay long. She stood. I don't want to run again. Then don't. I want to fight. Kai paused. You fought before? No, she said. But I've been hunted enough to know how. He opened another crate. Inside were shock pads, light armor plates, stun darts. He tossed her a pad. Then we train tonight. You fight like someone who refuses to be taken again? She caught the pad in one hand. I fight like someone who's done being afraid. And under the rusted earth, in a place forgotten by time, something new stirred. A woman made to be owned was now being chosen. The glow returned while she was sleeping. Kai had stepped away from the console to make a silent cup of broth when he saw it golden light. Soft and pulsing, slipping through the folds of the blanket wrapped around Riva's shoulders. It wasn't from the heater, it came from her. Her skin, once pale and bruised, now shimmered along the collarbone. Her spine, her fingers, faint lines like living veins of light moved beneath her skin. Not artificial, not mechanical, alive. Riva, he whispered. She didn't move. He stepped closer. Her breathing was steady, slow, but each breath made the light stronger. Then her eyes opened. Not afraid, just aware. She sat up, confused but calm, and looked down at her hands. Kai knelt beside her, cautious but gentle. Your body, he said, it's changing. I feel hot, she said softly, but not burning, like fire moving inside me. He tapped the console. The medical scanner flickered. It blinked once and filled with red alerts. Cellular energy output increased, genetic catalyst. Active host state. Transition. Rive looked at the data without understanding. What does it mean? Kai swallowed hard. It means, he said, you're not just a carrier anymore. I'm becoming what they tried to force me to be. No, he said firmly. You're becoming what they feared you might become. She stood up slowly. Her movements were smoother, now stronger. The limp from her frostbitten feet was gone. Her eyes glowed faintly, not with aggression, but clarity. They used to tell us stories, she said, walking to the console, of the first queens. Women who weren't chosen for beauty or obedience, but for survival. They led armies. They burned worlds to protect their daughters, and the syndicate wiped them from history. She turned to face him. Maybe one survived. Through me. Kai stepped back, stunned. The console blinked again. A message appeared. Royal line confirmed awakening protocol. Stage 1 complete, awaiting Guardian Bond. Kai frowned. Guardian Bond? She looked at the screen, then back at him. I read about this, she said. When the first queens rose to power, they didn't rule alone. They chose one to stand beside them. Not a king, not a master. Protector. She walked to him. I need you, she said. I'm just a mechanic, he replied. No, she said. You're the first person who gave without taking. The first. Who made me feel like more than a tool. He shook his head. You're asking me to stand against empires? I'm asking you to stand beside me. The console chimed. Guardian presence detected. Confirmed. Bondriva held out her hand. I offered myself for one night. In the cold, she said, you gave me a blanket, not a cage. You saved me without asking why. That means something in my world. Kai stared at her hand. Behind them, deep inside the vault's old systems. Something ancient stirred, a sleeping warship buried in the walls of the earth, circuits waiting for a name. He reached out and touched her palm. The light flared. Not just from her butt. From the floor, the walls, the ceiling, a voice echoed, calm and cold. Bond confirmed. Guardian registered. Vessel awakening. Suddenly, the entire shelter began to hum. Plates shifted underfoot. Hidden doors hissed open. And beneath the chamber, deep thudding sound began. The sound of something mechanical breathing for the first time in decades. Riva stepped back. What is this place? Kai looked around, eyes wide. I thought it was just a shelter, he said. It's a ship, she whispered. No, he corrected. It's your ship. The floor opened. A platform began rising from below, revealing a massive central corin. Energy engine glowing white-blue, ancient, but alive. Screens lit up across every wall, showing star maps, defense systems, storage chambers. It wasn't just a ship. It was a throne in motion, built not for travel, but for power. Then a warning flashed on one screen. Syndicate tracking signal detected fleet movement, 7 units inbound ETA. 22 hours Riva turned. To him, they know. I've awakened. Kai nodded. And they're coming to put you back in chains. She clenched her fists. Then we won't wait for them. She stepped toward the ship's core, the lights following her movement. I was born in a breeding cell, she said. I begged for warmth. I offered myself like nothing. But now she raised her voice. I will never kneel again. And for the first time in her life, the stars didn't feel cold. They felt like home. The sky cracked open above the scrapyard like splitting stone. 7 dark ships cut through the clouds, silent and sharp, shaped like blades. They didn't flash lights. They didn't send warnings. They just hovered cold, watching. Inside the underground chamber, Riva stood at the heart of the awakened vessel. Her skin shimmered brighter now, no longer flickering lines but living fire beneath the surface. Every step she took made the floor respond. Like the ship recognized her heartbeat, Kai watched from the console, hands tight on the control deck. They're locking the sector, he said. No way out by air, no jump routes open. We're not running, Riva replied. You're not trained for this. I don't need training, she said. They trained me to obey. They built me to break. That ends here. The ship's voice echoed through the room. Syndicate units have begun. Descent. Weapons armed, external doors sealed. Host signature. Combat-ready. Kai. Check the shields. If we power up, we become a beacon. We already are. We looked at her. Do you want to fight them all? Riva walked to the center of the deck. The energy around her pulsed, brighter now, wilder. She held up her arm, and golden light erupted across her skin, covering her limbs, her spine, her throat. It formed into armor, not made of steel, but of her own body's evolution. I'm not hiding anymore, she said. Suddenly alarms screamed. Unauthorized entry, breach at hangar doors. 5 units inbound, armed. Kai grabbed the nearest weapon. They're coming through the surface hatch. Riva turned toward the lift shaft. Let them. The first hunter dropped into the underground vault like a shadow, eyes glowing red, rifle raised. 2 more followed, then 2 more. Their armor was marked with syndicate crests. Their orders were clear: capture, not kill. But they weren't ready for her. Riva stepped out of the darkness, is barefoot, armored by her own body, glowing like the storm outside. The lead soldier raised his rifle, target identified. Prepare. Restraint. She didn't speak. She moved. With one step, the floor cracked under her heel. The heat in her veins ignited, shooting through her limbs like a flame without smoke. She reached the soldier before he could react and tore the weapon. From his hands with such force it bent like rubber, she slammed him into the wall. The vault shook. 2 others opened fire. The bolts struck her skin, but instead of piercing, they slowed, melted. Absorbed. Riva turned her head toward them and smiled. Then she raised both hands and let the fire out. Not real fire. Not plasma. Something older. Something deeper. A burst of golden energy roared from her chest, throwing the attackers off their feet, slamming them into steel columns, sparks flying from their crushed armor. Kai stared from the console, speechless. She wasn't defending herself. She was fighting like someone born to command. The last 2 hunters tried to retreat. Too late, she lunged, flipping through the air, landing behind them. Once she struck with the back of her arm, the armor shattered. The second she disarmed and threw to the ground, pinning him with a glare. Tell them, she said, her voice deep and charged. Tell them I'm not theirs. The hunter trembled. Under her, she leaned in, and tell them, next time, they better send gods, not tools. She released him. He crawled back to the lift. Bleeding and broken, Kai ran to her side as the lights dimmed. Riva, he said, Your pulse is too high, your system's overloading. She grabbed his shirt. I feel alive, she said. Like. The pieces inside me are finally mine. He looked into her eyes, now brighter than ever, not glowing like a machine, but like something reborn. You're not what they made, he said. No, she whispered. I'm what they feared I'd become. Suddenly, the console blinked again. Incoming transmission source. Unknown royal vessel. Encryption matched Kai. The Rivas stared at the screen. The message came through. A woman's voice. Calm. Heavy with power. To the one who awakened the blood. If you are alive, know this. You are not alone. Tss. We have been waiting. Riva's breath caught. She stepped forward, hand shaking. Who? Are you? The last queen? The voice replied. And your enemies know we've returned. The message ended. Silence returned, but not fear, only fire. Riva looked at Kai. I was made to give my body to a master, she said, but now I give my will to no one. Kai smiled. Then let them come again. Riva turned to the ship's controls. They will. The underground ship quieted again. Ash covered the walls. Broken armor pieces lay scattered near the lift, burned black and cracked. The light from the control panels had faded to a soft blue. Everything inside had calmed except Riva. She stood, at the center of the chamber, silent arms, trembling. Her skin still glowed in faint pulses, but the fire was dimmer now. Her body had survived, but her soul had taken a hit. Kai walked up behind her. You didn't sleep? He said. I couldn't. She whispered, every time I closed my eyes, I saw their hands again. He didn't ask whose hands. She turned toward him, looking smaller now. Not weaker, just real. I fought like I never have, she said. But I don't know who that was back there. That wasn't me. Kai stepped closer. That was the part of you they tried to kill, he said. The part they feared. I'm afraid of it too. He placed his hand gently over hers. You're not afraid of power, Riva. You're afraid of becoming what they called you. She closed her eyes. They called me property, experiment, asset. They said I'd be bred until I broke, that I'd cry for them in the end. Kai didn't speak. He just listened. They taught me how to smile when it hurt, how to breathe when it burned, how to lie down and let go. But you, her voice cracked, you gave me back a choice. He looked into her glowing eyes. You made the choice. He said, not me. Riva shook her head. No. I would have traded my body for a blanket. I would have crawled, begged if you'd let me. But you didn't take. He gently wiped the corner of her eye. I saw someone freezing, he said. Not someone for sale. She pulled her hand away, stepped back. I don't know how to be close to someone. I know how to survive, how to fight. But closeness feels like a trap. Kai took a breath, then nodded. I don't want your body, Riva. I want your story too. Keep going. She looked at him, eyes wide, lips trembling. I wanted to give you something, she said. Anything. But I only have pieces. Then give me one piece at a time. She stepped forward again, slowly, carefully, like testing. Ice under her feet. Then take this, she said, placing her hand over his chest. I want to stay, not as a weapon, not as a queen, just as me. He held her hand. And I'll stand with you, he said. Not because I must, but because I want to. The console blinked softly, as if sensing the moment. Then the ship's voice spoke again, calmly. Guardian bonds stabilized. Core functions aligned, legacy ship prepared for departure. Kai blinked. It's ready to move? Riva nodded. It's alive. And it's responding to us. Suddenly, another alert flared on the screen. Incoming signal not hostile. Ancient encryption key matched Royal Echo vessel Solara. Message evacuation ready. Allies request rendezvous. All resistance gathering. She turned to Kai. The others, they found us. He read the coordinates. This place was a seed. Riva's voice was steady now. We're not the last. We're the beginning. She opened the command channel and spoke her first words as something more than a survivor. Tell them we're coming. Fully awakened. No longer in chains. The ship powered up. The floor beneath them shook gently. Panels lit with deep gold. Engines that hadn't moved in 50 years hummed again. The ship wasn't just waiting, it had been holding its breath. Riva reached for the navigation panel. Her fingers hovered for a second, then pressed the launch code. A sound rose low and powerful. She looked at Kai. "Do you think they'll try again?" "They always do. Will we win?" He smiled. "Not because you're powerful," he said, "but because you're finally free." She smiled back soft, real, not trained. "I offered my body for warmth," she whispered, "but you gave me something I never asked for." "What? A reason to live?" The ship lifted. The rocks above split open like a wound healing in reverse. And from beneath the dirt, the rust, and the silence rose a vessel of legacy inside it, a girl once. Broken now sat tall, and beside her, a man who refused to take stood, ready to protect. The stars stretched endless in every direction. Riva stood at the front window of the legacy ship, her reflection glowing against the black. Behind her, the vessel hummed like a heartbeat. Ahead, floating in the dust belt of a forgotten sect, was Solara, a ship the size of a city. Its surface was cracked, scarred, armored with memory. Its shape was old royal design, sloped, towering, shaped not for war, but presence. And yet every cannon on its hull pointed outward. A message to any who dared come closer. Inside, Kai waited near the landing bay controls, eyes scanning.
No threats.
No heat signatures, only the silent welcome of forgotten allies. "We're docking," he called. Riva stayed quiet. She watched Solara growing closer. Her chest tightened. She hadn't seen anyone like her in years, if ever. What would they see when she arrived? A queen? A mistake? A girl who once begged in the street? The ship latched with a gentle click. They stepped into the main passage, walking together side by side.
Ow.
Riva no longer trembled. The fire in her blood was calm, now not blazing. It's not silent, steady. The doors opened, and they entered a hall lit with gold. There were only a few of them, mate figures, old tired, marked by scars and time. 2 were women. One looked barely older than Riva. One walked with metal limbs. They stood in silence, watching her. The leader stepped forward, a woman with pale eyes, long braids, and a scar over her lips. "We felt you awaken," she said. "We didn't think any like you still lived." Riva stood tall. "I didn't think any of you existed." The woman nodded. "You are one of the last flames. We lit this ship from memory." "But it needed a reason to burn again," Riva asked. "And now?" The woman looked at Kai, then back to her. "Now it has you." Riva stepped forward. "I didn't ask to be royal. I didn't want to be anything." "You survived," the woman said. "And in this galaxy that makes you more than royal." Then another voice echoed through the chamber loud. "Mechanical, cold, unknown vessels detected. Syndicate fleet incoming. 12 ships. ETA. 20 minutes. Kai tensed. "We can run." Riva didn't answer. The others turned to her. "You command now," the woman said. "Do we hide again, or do we rise?" Riva looked at the screen. 12 ships fully armed, coming to take her back, to erase what they failed to control. She took a breath. "I offered my body for warmth once," she said aloud, voice strong, "because I thought that's all I had." The room listened. "I was made in chains. I was trained to obey. I was told my fire belonged to someone else." She looked around. No more. Then she turned to the console. "Open all channels." Screen blinked. Broadcast open. Riva stepped forward, eyes glowing. "This is Riva," she said. "Daughter of no house, slave to no one. I am not a vessel. I am not a tool. I am not what you made me." Her voice didn't shake. "To those who want to take me back, you'll find nothing but fire. To those still hiding, still waiting, I say this: your time is now, rise." The console pulsed. Message broadcasted across local systems. The woman beside her smiled for the first time. Kai placed a hand on her shoulder. "They're still coming," said. Riva nodded. "Good," the ship rumbled. Cannon arrays activated. Shields pulsed. Old ships around Solara came to life, some limping, some sleek, some barely held together with bolts and belief. Kai turned to her. This started with a blanket. Riva smiled. And ends with a home. He raised an eyebrow. Ends. She corrected herself. Begins. The battle was sharp, brief, violent. 12 syndicate ships entered orbit with arrogance. Only one limped away. The rest were reduced to debris shattered. By fire, they thought no longer existed. Not just weapons. When it ended, Riva stood in the command center. Hair loose, armor dimmed. Her hand shook, but not from fear, from choice. She had chosen not to kill the fleeing vessel. She had chosen mercy, not weakness. Legacy, rewritten. She turned to Kai. You were never meant to be here, she said. Neither were you, he replied. But now we are. She looked at him, soft, strong, alive. I don't need a throne, she whispered. You don't have one, he said. You built it. She leaned in, resting her forehead against his. I'm not cold anymore, she said. And I'm not alone, he replied. They stood together at the center of a ship once buried, once lost, and around them the galaxy stirred, watching, whispering, remembering the name of the girl who was once for sale, now lit like a star.